Zohran Mamdani. If you are watching this on YouTube, you probably still have a couple more hours to vote against him, because I personally do not want New York to become an Islamic caliphate nor a communist hellhole. Neither of these two sound good. If you're watching this video, you're in New York City, you could still vote for a few hours. If you're watching this video about a day after uploaded, things are either great or they're not, but this video will still be super relevant, and I will tell you why. They're rigging it. They're rigging the election. I'm not even joking. This is diabolical. Elon Musk makes this tweet, and it's insane. So this tweet went viral. It has over 4 million views, and it's crazy. So the New York City ballot form is a scam. No ID is required. That's the first point, which is insane. Insane. No voter ID. What an unbelievable situation. Because remember, New York is so-called sanctuary city. It is flooded with illegals. There are millions, potentially, of illegals in New York. They'll all be voting for Zohran Mamdani 7 times. It is literally so over. It's designed to kill us. Other mayoral candidates appear twice. Cuomo's name is in the bottom last, on the bottom right. Now, if you look at this actual ballot, it might be one of the most diabolical ballots ever. So over here, you have Zohran Mamdani. Then you have Curtis Sliwa. Then you have Irene Estrada. Then you have Zohran Mamdani again. Then you have Curtis Sliwa again. Then you have Eric Adams, who, for the record, dropped out of the race. He's not even a candidate. Then you have Jim Walden. Then you have Andrew Cuomo, the only guy that actually has a prayer of winning. Are you watching the insanity unfold in front of us? This is a scam. Oh my God. I've never seen anything like this in my life. So you have to understand the ballots don't matter. The ballots do matter because the average person is retarded. Okay? I'm sorry. The average person is a So, terrible analysis. My native leftoid in chat, who I keep him here to give me the other perspective. His response was, Q is at the end of the alphabet. You absolute dumbass. Cuomo is spelled with a C, and Zohran Mamdani is spelled with a Z. Yet he shows up twice before Cuomo shows up. All right, so I'm really glad. This is why we keep the native leftoid, because he definitely makes things exciting. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is, this is a scam. It's a scam. So you have to realize the average voter's retarded. All right, the average voter's retarded. So these guys will go up. They'll throw a dart at this at the ballot. Wherever it lands is where they get to. So either they'll hit a Zohran Mamdani or literally any of these other guys that aren't even running except for Cuomo. This is diabolical. It's diabolical. It really is. So anyway, Patrick Bet-David noted that 765,000 New Yorkers say they will definitely leave if Mamdani wins. Bro, this will be the biggest exodus of Jews since Egypt, ladies and gentlemen. Not even exaggerating, bro. Not even exaggerating. Oh my God, bro. Since the book of Exodus in the Bible, there has not been a bigger exodus of Jews. Well, now there will be. Welcome to New York. New York, the Jews are like, bro, it's out. People are leaving, and it's obvious why. Now, you have to understand what's going on, because Zohran Mamdani is not the only major election that's going on in the United States today, all right? So this is not the only place you should go vote if you haven't yet watching this video. There are a few other places where you need to vote now. For example, one of the biggest scandals in Pennsylvania history is happening right now. Chester County polling locations are running out of provisional ballots, and voters are being turned away. You're turning away voters, bro, in Pennsylvania? What does that even mean? What does that even mean, turning away voters? Oopsie poopsie, we're out of paper. We're turning you away now. So anyway, Pennsylvania also trying their best to scam the American right. But don't worry, it gets worse. So currently, there's a very important election going on in New Jersey. In New Jersey as well, for the governor. It looks like we have a very good chance of getting a conservative governor in New Jersey, which is a massive change of pace. That's not even one of the 7 swing states. New Jersey might be the 8th swing state. You never know. So this is diabolical. Now, you have to see this. You have to see this. So, specifically, in red districts in New Jersey, something diabolical happened.
Governor Mark Meredith is live in Montclair with the latest for us. Mark.
Ainsley, Brian, and Lawrence, good morning once again, friends. Some brand new information coming into our newsroom that we've learned that these threats were communicated electronically via email to at least 7 different counties across the Garden State. These threats certainly being
red counties
taken seriously, and out of abundance of caution, some of the polling places were temporarily either closed or suspended as they moved voters to different locations. And then as they were doing those searches, then either able to reopen some of the facilities. We got a statement from the Attorney General of...
They are closing polling facilities in 7 different districts in New Jersey because of bomb threats. And Quifa is once again pulling off something diabolical. Now, I showed you Pennsylvania. I showed you New York. We're going to go back to New York in just a bit because you have to understand the scam that we're dealing with because there's too much insanity going on. All right? So, anyway, it gets even crazier.
New Jersey, I want to put it up on the screen for you. It says law enforcement officers have responded at each affected polling place. Some of these polling locations have already reopened to the public. The polls in New Jersey opened at 6 a.m. sharp. We have not seen any added security in the last hour or so, but it is certainly possible that we could see more because at this polling facility right here behind me, we are going to be seeing the Democratic nominee for governor, Mikey Sherrill. She'll be out here with her family to cast her.
So anyway, they're closing down. They closed down 7 different polling places, turning away voters in New Jersey for bomb threats. This is insane. This shouldn't be happening, man. Wake up, New Jersey. Oh my God, they reopened them eventually, but they turned away voters. This for hours. This is insanity. Now, that's not the only crazy situation regarding today's election. So if you're in New Jersey, go vote. Okay, do it. Go vote, man. Get ready for the next one. In Virginia, you probably remember Jay Jones. So Jay Jones is the guy running for the Attorney General in Virginia right now. Running for Virginia Attorney General. And as you might remember Jay Jones from the past, Jay Jones had these text messages leaked where he was literally wishing for the murder of Republicans and conservatives. So this is him saying 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert is a Republican. Gilbert gets 2 bullets. Spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people, and he gets both bullets. He also says, I think Todd and Jennifer are evil, and they are breeding little fascists, and therefore they should get killed too. Now, you have to understand, this guy is running for Attorney General, one of the most powerful law enforcement positions in the country. He is running for Attorney General, the ultimate twist. Now, you probably think there's no way you could hate this guy more than seeing stuff like this. Because again, he wasn't condemned by any Democrat. Well, what if I told you this motherfucker Hasan Pikered this bitch and tried to kick a dog?
Make he rest. And then he wake up tonight when you get this swing.
Ah! See you soon. Bro kicked at the dog, missed, and then tried to slap the dog on the way back. Bro, look at this. What is that? Oh my God. That's insane. Bro, like, dude, this is this is crazy. The left is evil, man. The left is evil. What are we doing? Oh my God. It's okay to kill kids and political enemies. Jones draws line at dog murder, and then he goes and kicks a dog. That's crazy. Anyway, so that's what's happening in Virginia. Now, Mamdani Zohran, everyone's favorite radical Islamist communist that's currently running for mayor in New York City, go vote. You have got to see this. It might be one of the most evil things. You probably remember, because if you've been following this election, I have been following it, so you probably have as well, because I made videos on it in the past. Now, you very possibly remember that Zohran Mamdani literally ran his entire campaign on government-owned free grocery stores. This was one of his things. It's a communist strategy. It'll never work. It'll destroy the city. It'll destroy the country. It'll destroy the competition. However, one of the main things he was running on was free government-run grocery stores. Well, they asked him about it today on election day, and he changes his promise.
Question affordability in this city, living here is top of everyone's mind. It has gotten obscenely expensive to live here, to do anything here. So you're proposing free grocery stores, free buses, $30 minimum wage, all of which sounds incredible.
Cheaper groceries, not free groceries.
Excuse me, cheaper groceries.
He is going back on the core promise of his campaign.
But what people want to know is, great, I would love all those things.
Yeah,
how do you pay for it? Who's going to end up footing the bill for those programs?
So I'll answer that question by first explaining some of the endorsements that Andrew Cuomo has received.
I'm going to explain to you why, actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to talk about the other guy.
Elon Musk's endorsement is one of the most expensive endorsements that Andrew Cuomo has ever gotten, because it cost him and the state of New York $959 million in tax breaks that he gave Elon Musk.
Like, dude, this guy's crazy. What an actual loser. It's insane. So, anyway, I wanted to see what the voters on the ground said, because maybe they have a perspective that I don't. All right, this is very possible. It's very possible that that they have a different perspective that I don't have. So, I wanted to see what people on the ground were saying.
I voted for.
So he's asking this lady, why did you vote for Zohran Mamdani?
I voted for Mamdani.
Do you feel like socialism would work in New York City?
No, not necessarily.
Bro, you're voting for a radical communist, man. And you don't think... This is liberal white women. Liberal white women, man. Liberal white women. What are we doing? These people are idiots. Idiots! Idiots! Like, this is, by the way, for the record, this is literally how it always goes. This is how it always goes. They show up and they be like, I am going to vote to import illegal immigrants. And then 5 years later, I just don't feel safe going out onto the streets anymore. It's crazy how that happens. So anyway, this is Cuomo, what he had to say.
It's an important message because it's a three-way race. It's myself, the Democratic Socialist, Mamdani, and there's a Republican named Curtis Lewa. And Curtis Lee was a spoiler. There was no chance he can win, but he can make Mamdani a winner. So President Trump saying to the Republicans, don't vote for Sliwa, you're wasting your vote, that could be very helpful. Because if they don't vote for Sliwa, they would vote for me.
What do you say to the Republicans that say Sliwa's probably not going to win if you believe the polls, so I'm just going to stay home? But then Donald Trump comes out, and many Republicans live for whatever Donald Trump says. And when he's telling them to go vote for you, maybe they will go out. What's the reason a Republican should get out of bed, should leave? Do
you understand what's happening? Cuomo, a Democrat, is literally joining forces with Trump and Fox News because we don't want to elect a jihadist, terrorist-supporting communist in New York City. New York City, we don't want New York to become the new capital of fucking Syria. No one wants that.
House should leave the office and go vote for you.
See, I have someone in my chat, that said I voted Sliwa, fuck Cuomo. You're right. You're right. Fuck Cuomo, but Sliwa can't win. He's literally just dividing the votes.
Yeah, well...
A base Democrat? He's not a base Democrat. This guy sucks. He's just not a terrorist. The bar is literally in hell.
President Trump, President Trump is pragmatic. He is telling them the reality of the situation, which is if you do not vote, Mamdani is going to win. Who is Mamdani? I don't know, but he's a Democratic socialist. He'll bring socialism to New York City. New York City will not thrive with a socialist economy, anti-law and order, decriminalize prostitution.
Oh my God, that's right.
So
you wanted to do that.
Republicans, you have to get up and come out and vote. Even if you're not voting for a Republican, you're voting to save New York City. This election is not about Democrat, Republican.
Honestly, the smartest thing he's ever said.
It's about saving the city.
He's not even wrong. He's not even wrong. And it's crazy. It's crazy. Do you see how insane this is, man? Do you see how insane it is? This is how you get... These are the first time Democrats... All right, this is the first time Democrats are not calling Republicans fascists. They realize that the alternative is a terrorist. Oh my God. Dude, I'm telling you, there's going to be an awakening in America where people are like the radical far left and the radical far right are going to fall off. They're going to... You know what? They're going to join forces. You're going to see the far left and the far right are going to join forces somehow. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's crazy. Like, what are we doing? Dude, we need to kick the communists out of the country. We really do. And now, don't forget, this is Zohran Mamdani, the guy that's here to make the country better. Like, defund the haram police. Defund it, dismantle it. Defund the police. Build a socialist New York. Queer liberation means defund the police. No, we want to defund the police. New York City, 99% of office holders are Democrats, yet they refuse to defund cops, defund and dismantle, defund the police. So this is what this guy wants to do. He wants to defund the police and import illegals from shitholes around the world. He's like, you don't understand. This dude is the Godzilla to our proverbial Tokyo. All right, he is coming here to destroy it, and it's very obvious if you pay attention. Now, Tucker Carlson, he's a right-wing guy, as we all know. He's right-wing, very right-wing. Now, Zohran Mamdani is for importing illegals, alternate religions that aren't, that's necessarily Christian. Let's just say. Also, he supports prostitution, abortion, LGBT rights, all the stuff. He supports all of the classic far left stuff. All right? So you'd think Tucker Carlson would hate him.
That guy was the only person in the New York City mayor's debate to say he wanted to focus on New York City.
That guy ran his entire campaign on Palestine. So I don't care what he said in a random debate. His entire campaign was Palestine. They asked him in the beginning why he wanted to run. Why do you want to run for mayor of New York? And he said, because I'm making Palestine my focus. I am not joking. This is a real thing. And this dude's like, he puts America first. He puts America first. Dude, what are we doing? Why are we glazing radical Islamists? Why are we doing this?
All the candidates were asked, if you could visit a foreign country, what would it be? And they, of course, all had an answer. I think most said Israel. Great. And he said, I wouldn't go anywhere. I'd stay in New York. And like, if I want to meet Jewish constituents, I go to their synagogues, their homes or whatever, but I'd be here in New York because that's what I'm doing. I'm running New York. That's my job.
Well, he gave the right answer.
He gave the right answer. He gave the right answer at least. And he's talking. I totally oppose his program. Just
absolutely.
To be clear.
Disclaimer, I oppose the abortion, transgender communism. Disclaimer. That guy's amazing. We should all vote for him. He's incredible. He knows what's up. He's America first. Disclaimer, I oppose. It's crazy watching this, man.
I don't think it works. But
God, what are you doing?
He's talking about economics.
Yep.
And everyone else is talking about foreign policy.
This isn't even true. He's the one that talks about foreign policy. Zohran Mamdani said he wanted to defund the NYPD because of donations that they got from Israel. He wanted to defund the NYPD. He said that he would arrest foreign leaders that he doesn't like that commit war crimes when they enter this country. His economic policy is free everything. Okay? What are we even talking about? He's the foreign policy candidate. It's insane that people aren't noticing. It's insane. It's insane. I don't know what this guy's doing. I literally don't know what this dude's doing. Like, what does he do? Tucker, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Anyway, now, Zohran Mamdani addressed the fact that there were bomb threats. There were lots of bomb threats that went down all over, all right? In New Jersey. As I showed you, a giant scam. This entire day was a scam. Broken election booths, bomb threats in New Jersey, polling places running out of ballots, whatever the hell that means. All right, you have no voter ID. You have Zohran on the ballot twice. It's insane. So lots of bomb threats, it's your classic shenanigans. So they ask Zohran Mamdani what he thinks about the bomb threats. You'll never guess what he's going to say.
Incredibly concerning. And I think that it is an illustration of the attacks we're seeing on our democracy. Sometimes
what?
They're blatant and explicit in the manner of these bomb threats.
Right.
And we have to understand this as part of the general approach the Trump administration has taken.
What? Trump is trying to flip New Jersey by getting a red governor, and he's blaming the bomb threats on Trump? What are you talking about?
To trying to intimidate voters with baseless allegations of voter fraud as a means of trying to repress the voice of Americans across this country.
Can I tell you a fact? And if this is wrong, you should sue me for defamation, okay? There is voter fraud. If there's no voter ID, there is voter fraud. No doubt. I saw tweets of people literally sitting there cheering that they voted 7 times for the same candidate, that they went to 7 different polling places and voted 7 separate times because there's no voter ID. All right? Is this not insane? You want to know the craziest thing? Hasan Piker even implied that he would do it. Hasan Piker, largest leftist Twitch streamer. I can even find this tweet for you because I couldn't believe he would say it so openly. It's diabolical. Absolutely diabolical. He's busy retweeting his love of 9/11 or whatever. But as you could see, it's okay. I canceled out his vote by illegally voting for Zohran 7 times. Like, it's a joke, haha. But is this not directly signaling to people in New York to vote for Zohran 7 times? Like, bro, what are we doing, man?
I don't know if he's going to get that question again today, but the general approach the Trump administration has taken to try and intimidate voters, unless we heard him incorrectly, what in the world is he talking about?
He is serving up a Kamala-sized word salad, but he's using kale instead of romaine. It's just a slightly better finessed verbiage than we were given with her. This is emptiness. It means nothing. What he's doing is deflecting because he doesn't have an answer for this because he is not prepared if, God forbid, something like 9/11 happens again. Just think about that. Were you in New York on 9/11? Do you remember what happened to the city? Do you remember what happened to this country? Do you remember who was mayor and what was needed from that office? Could this person really provide that? I mean, it scares the hell out of me. I hope everyone has a plan with their kids if, God forbid, something happens.
Got it.
So this is insane. This is complete insanity. So he blames Trump for the bomb threats. Now, Sneeko is another allegedly right-wing figure, but he's out here been shouting out Zohran's campaign constantly.
Whether or not you like him, I'm starting to like him more. I really like Zohran Mamdani's campaign so far.
So, again, Zohran Mamdani is a radical Islamist, communist, pro-immigration, pro-illegal immigration, anti-ICE, against the feds, anti-democracy, radical Islamist terrorist supporter. I just want to make this clear. Sneeko is a right-wing guy, and he supports Zohran Mamdani, pro-LGBT everything, pro-transing the kids. He's pro all that stuff. And he gets support from Sneeko, a allegedly right-wing guy who happens to be a Muslim. Are you noticing? Are you noticing what's happening in America? Anyway, ISIS threatened New York City today. And all praise due to Allah, and may his peace be a blessing upon his messenger and his companions and family. We in the Islamic State would like to express our sincerest excitement and deepest commendation for today's jihad in New York City and its valiant and righteous martyrs. Each day, this is not, for the record, this is not parody. Each day a year comes when we are overwhelmed with joy. A day when those past joyful memories are remembered. Memories of glory and victory, reviving and restoring hope, honor and pride to Muslims. 9/11, a date remembered by the entire world. Events are chronicled based on this date. They say such and such events took place pre or post 9/11. The country and people that by and large consider 9/11 to be a historic date is the American government and its citizens, respectively. Why are we not mentioning that 9/11 was actually done by you guys and a very bad thing? What the fuck is happening? I mean, to be fair, I don't think anyone on 9/11 suffered as much as Zohran Mamdani's aunt, who got Islamophobic glances at her on the subway in Tanzania. The 11/4 operations have been the most carefully coordinated response to American aggression and imperialism launched by the Muslim world since 9/11. We learned from our mistakes and made during the operations in Paris and Brussels. We are able to introduce and deliver open source jihad instructions to 109 Muslim brothers living in America who express desire to commit or enable today's jihad. Allah said, indeed, those who disbelieve spread their wealth and avert people from the way of Allah. So they will spend it, and then there will be a source of regret, and then they will be overcome. Donald Trump takes credit for defeating the Islamic State. We would like very much for Donald Trump to know 11/4 was planned during your administration under the stupid and illegitimate authority of Kash Patel, Pamela Bondi, and John Radcliffe. Bro, ISIS is calling the election a jihad. Are we on the same page? ISIS is calling this a jihad in New York City. Could we please wake up, man? Could we please wake up, guys, for just a second? Anyway, this is a picture of Sydney Sweeney at New York's fashion. If Zohran Mamdani becomes mayor, you could recognize her by her great jeans. Also, just now, President Trump made a pretty diabolical tweet. Any Jewish person that votes for Zohran Mamdani, a proven and self-professed Jew hater, is a stupid person. True! Based Trump. True! Trump is spitting. For the record, about 90% of the Jews are voting against Zohran Mamdani. But there are 10% of Jews that are voting for Zohran Mamdani, mostly in, like, the Williamsburg community. This is a real tweet, yes. And those guys, to be fair, they do dislike a lot of different groups of Jews. To be fair, they really kind of do. So anyway, like, bro, and we got the trans rabbis that call themselves Jews and stuff, like those guys. So you know, those guys are voting for Mamdani, and Donald Trump is calling them stupid, and he's right. He's just correct, actually. Now, Donald Trump made an insane post, and this actually, after this post, the likelihood for Zohran Mamdani went down to 45%, and Cuomo went up to 43%. It is an incredibly mega close race. It really is. And it's not over, so if you're watching this video, go vote. Let's make sure. If communist candidate Zohran Mamdani wins the election for mayor of New York City, it is highly unlikely that I will be contributing federal funds, other than the very minimum as required to my beloved first home, because of the fact that as communist, this once great city has zero chance of success, or even survival. It can only get worse with a communist at the helm. I don't want to send, as president, good money after bad. It is my obligation to run the nation, and my strong conviction that New York City will be a complete and total economic and social disaster should Mamdani win. His principles have been tested for over 1,000 years. Never once had they been successful. True. No lies detected. True. I would much rather see a Democrat who has a record of success win than a communist with no experience and a record of complete and total failure. He has nothing as an assemblyman, ranked at the bottom of his class, and the mayor of potentially again the greatest city in the world. He has no chance to bring it back to its former glory. We must remember this. A vote for Curtis Sliwa, who looks much better without the beret, is a vote for Mamdani. Whether you personally like Andrew Cuomo or not, you really have no choice. You must vote for him and hope he does a fantastic job. He's capable of it. Mamdani is not. Dude, New York City is, we are literally at the orcs are at the gate. The orcs are approaching the Shire, ladies and gentlemen. It's happening. So, 1 a.m., Zohran Mamdani showed up at a gay bar to campaign to the gays. Definitely a move for a radical Muslim, if I do say so myself. Now, a lot of people are trying to make it sound like this guy is not actually a radical Muslim because he's looking for the gays. But in reality, this actually proves nothing, because the Muslims directly say, yes, we will kill gays. I'm talking about the radical Muslims. They say, yeah, of course we're going to stone gays to death. Obviously, this is super important. But first we have to conquer your country through, manipulation and the ballot. We start with the ballot, and then we move on to the bullet. This is literally a quote verbatim from the Iranian motherfucker over there. So anyway, so this dude goes to a gay bar to promote his stuff. And funny story, this is Zohran smiling with the lady who made gay punishable by death in Uganda. So this dude is literally sucking off all of the options. Bro walks around to glorble on people's schmorbles. All right, you have to understand what's going on. You have him campaigning with literally the one that introduced the death penalty to gays, and also campaigning in gay bars. Are we on the same page? Are we noticing what is happening here? This is 2 weeks before Hamas attacked Israel. Zohran Mamdani, who according to Tucker Carlson is America First, Zohran Mamdani was on the streets screaming about Israel. Immediately after the attack, you know what Mamdani did? He was on the streets screaming about Israel. Mamdani said many times that he got into politics for Palestine, not for New York City. For Palestine.
Who is ready for Palestinian freedom? Who is ready for the end of apartheid? The support for the Israeli government is something that is developed from the first moment that someone even thinks about politics in this country.
America first, America first.
We have to combat it at the same level. Not on our dime! Not on our dime! Not on our dime! Not on our dime!
Yeah, so to be fair, this is before the Gaza war, all right? But he still did this because it didn't matter. None of it mattered. None of it mattered. So anyway, we are really bringing this shit back, it seems. Now, the actual Justice Warrior made, I think, what's supposedly a good video. I was told to specifically react to this one because apparently he shreds Mamdani, and also it seems like the Mamdani support is collapsing, and whether he wins or not, if you're watching this after it's already over, whether he won or whether he didn't, there's a lot going on. The sentiment in the country is shifting in real time. Now, I find it super funny that when you look at politics, you have a lot of people talking about, you know, Israel, whatever stuff is going on over there. But the reality is, in Europe, it's a very different ballgame because the orcs are already in the European shires, even though the orcs are not actually in the American shires yet. America doesn't realize what we're doing by getting these people that are literally sitting here trying their best to import the orcs. And the reality is, Europe's already been ravaged. That's why Europe has a totally different value system than America. America needs to start looking at Europe and being like, we don't want to turn into that shithole. All right, we don't want to turn into UK. All right, we don't want to turn into a PvP server. All right, they already have the orcs in the shires. There are child rape gangs running around. I don't want that in New York, to be honest. I don't want infinite, unfettered immigration and anti-law and order policies run by a communist. So, pay attention, man. Pay attention.
The biggest fear is when you're alone, and there are no police. Zohran Mamdani is against more police in the subway. If you're in danger, his solution as mayor would be for you to call the Behavioral Health Emergency Assistance Response Division.
This ad is
Whatever
diabolical.
that is. Nice isn't what we need in a mayor.
Another smiling photo of Zohran Mamdani, taken just a few days ago.
Oh my God.
And who's he with this time?
Who's that?
Imam Siraj Wahaj.
Oh my God, Siraj
An unindicted
Wahaj.
co-conspirator in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing.
True.
Who called for jihad on New York City.
No one's surprised.
And someone who condemned gay people as, quote, cursed with a disease.
Listen, I don't support Imam Zahaj Miraj, but a broken clock. No, I'm kidding. That was a joke. It was a joke.
This is who Zohran Mamdani embraces. He's not who you think he is. Paid for by 4 Hour City.
That is one. So do you understand what's going on? The ads are taking such a different turn, man. The ads are taking a diabolically different turn. Everything is changing, and people are actually starting to get really spooked. Whether he wins or whether he doesn't, this is a turning point for the country.
He's not who you think he is. Paid for by 4 Hour City.
That is one of the many ads that is currently being run across New York City airwaves in the lead up to the election, which, by the way,
that doesn't really matter. No one listens to the radio.
This video is hopefully timed correctly to release on Tuesday morning.
Oh, in case you're curious about what's actually happening, according to the polls, it seems like 60% of native-born Americans are voting for Cuomo, but 80% of foreigners are voting for Zohran Mamdani. Do you understand? Do you understand where we're at? They're importing an underclass into society to literally vote for someone to import an underclass to win infinite elections. I don't think you understand how close we are to never having another election again.
Of election day in the city of New York. And by the way, important elections in Virginia, in the state of New Jersey, and of course there's Prop 50 on the ballot in the state of California that you guys all need to vote in if you actually live in those respective states.
True.
But as we can see, we finally are getting attacks on Mamdani. These attacks appear to finally be somewhat effective, but the thing is, the question that everybody has is whether or not it just happens to be too late for these attacks to be effective.
Oh my God, we'll know in 12 hours. We'll know in 12 hours, guys.
And of course, will Cuomo and Sliwa split the non-Mamdani vote to the point where Mamdani is handed the mayorship of the city of New York? And this is what we're going to talk about today, because it is election day. You should definitely 100% go out and vote, and the polling seems to indicate that the race is tightening. We also have a very much increased turnout in the city of New York, so maybe the older representation in the voting electorate will flip the script on Mamdani, and everything needs to be broken down. So that's what we're going to do today.
Polymarket just came out with polls. Polymarket just came out with the polls. Let's see. Polymarket polls. All right. What do we got? Oh, diabolical. Polymarket billboards display. This is crazy. 94% chance Mamdani wins, man. 94% chance. Oh my god. We're so cooked. All right, well, anyway, enjoy the caliphate, guys. I left New York years ago. Well, that was a good decision.
Zohran Mamdani has only managed a staff of 5 and skipped half of all votes. He spends his time tweeting radically dangerous ideas. Defund the police. Dismantle SWAT teams. Free buses? Been tried. Overrun by the homeless and crime. Sit this one out at your own peril. Experience matters. Cuomo. Paid for by Fix the City.
So one of the things that I've noticed as of late, and again, this is not just on twitter.com, but it's actually on the television stations, is that the ads against Mamdani are finally actually good. They finally highlight his defund the police agenda, all the different
They finally highlight the fact that we are literally hiring someone to end New York democracy as we know it. And all the worst people are like, dude, you have to understand what we're dealing with. All right, just for the record, you have to understand what we're dealing with. You should follow me on Twitter if you don't. I am a monster on Twitter. So Cenk Uygur, radical leftist Muslim fellow, decided to say a vote for Zohran Mamdani is a vote you're probably going to think for the economy. But that's not what he says. It is a vote to drive the Israeli lobby crazy. A vote for Zohran is a vote to make Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro cry. A vote for Zohran is a vote for New York, not a foreign government. A vote for Zohran is a vote for change. Dog, I'm telling you, man, there is something diabolical getting cooked up in America. Diabolical. Absolutely diabolical. What are we doing? Vote for Zohran Mamdani to piss off Ben Shapiro? Is that really the strategy? You want to destroy New York to own the Jews? Like, these are the Israel first guys. I'm telling you, man, the radical pro-Israel team and the radical anti-Israel team are both diabolical. They're both literally enemies of this movement. What are we doing? Oh my God. You have every right to be pro-Israel. You have every right to be anti-Israel. But if that becomes your entire worldview, either pro or anti, what are you doing? This is wild. Look at this. This is awesome. Both Trump and Elon Musk have endorsed Cuomo in New York City. That itself is a good reason to vote for him. This is the political equivalent of pregnant women overdosing on Tylenol to own Trump. Bro, this is literally what we're seeing right now. Vote for Zohran Mamdani to own Trump, bro? Oh my Lord.
Horrible things that he said and done. The fact that he's lazy, doesn't even show up to vote in his current position at the state assembly, and of course that he's accomplished nothing in his career. Now, of course, my favorite part of that ad was when they threw in the extreme weather right in the middle of it, as if, you know, Mamdani is going to make the heavens seek vengeance on the city of New York if he's elected.
I mean, to be fair,
but in reality, this is the kind of stuff that Governor Cuomo...
To be fair, God brought the flood. All right, literally in Exodus chapter 6, all right, God brought the flood because those guys were violent shitbags. And God was like, Noah, build a boat. Noah, build a boat. We're bringing down the heavens.
Team should have been doing to Mamdani since the primary, but the thing is, the guy has basically not campaigned against Mamdani until after early voting started, which is actually a legitimate embarrassment. Remember, Andrew Cuomo and his father Mario Cuomo, the Cuomo family, have been an institution in New York statewide politics for decades.
See, the issue is Cuomo sucks too. I'm not trying to be rude here, not trying to dissuade voters. All right, you still have a couple of hours at the time of this video getting posted. Cuomo sucks too, man. Cuomo's terrible. He just at least he literally just doesn't want to import people to rape our children. All right, this is the bar. This is the bar. The bar is in hell, but that's the bar.
decades and decades and decades. And you would think that they would have something better than an 11th hour push that's actually finally legitimate, but apparently they decided this whole campaign that they weren't going to campaign against this guy, and Mamdani has been allowed to go unchallenged essentially up until late October of 2025 during his mayoral campaign, and it's an absolute embarrassment.
True.
Now, of course, we have indications from the polls that Mamdani's lead is narrowing significantly. We have Atlas Intel, which is one of the most accurate pollsters in the entire country. They were the most accurate in 2024, in 2020, and again in 2016, and they have indicated that the race is actually much closer than other polling institutions are saying it is.
A new Atlas poll, which surveyed over 1,500 people through October 30th, shows
Curtis Sliwa, you, like, listen, man, while I think you're probably the best of the three candidates, you are horrible. You're horrible, man. Why are you splitting the vote? Oh my God. This dude's just like, if I can't have it, no one can.
Mamdani at 40, former Governor Andrew Cuomo at 34, and Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa at 24.
Now, look, a lot of people look at that and they think, well, it's still 6 points to the advantage of Mamdani, so he's definitely a lock to win. And if you check the betting odds for Mamdani, you could see he's in and around 88 to 95% chance of being the next New York City mayor. And this is because overall, the polling shows him with a significant lead that is beyond the margin of error. And this is in fact true. It's 100% accurate, and in reality, very likely today, Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, Zohran Mamdani will in fact be the winner of the New York City mayoral election.
Wow, dude.
However, there are other things in the data that give a little bit of hope, a little bit of a chance of that not being the case, and that is the fact that currently, right now, early voting has basically outpaced Mayor Adams' total vote total back in 2021, indicating that the polling of likely voters might actually...
More people are voting now than any other election in New York history. Everyone's terrified. Literally. Inshallah, New York will not be London, but looks like it's happening, man.
Be completely inaccurate.
Hey, Craig, we really saw record numbers of voters come out to do early voting. 9 days of early voting wrapped up just yesterday, and now all three candidates making their final push to get the word out, to get voters to the polls on the last day possible, which is Tuesday, Election Day.
All right.
The numbers show New Yorkers are turning out to voice their choice for New York City's 111th mayor. After 9 days of early voting, more than 735,000 people cast their ballot. That's more than 4 times the last mayoral race, according to the New York City Board of Elections. The three candidates zigzagging the 5 boroughs to make their last-minute push.
So that around 750,000 number that you see for the early voting totals, a lot of people on the left are attributing that to the energy behind Zohran Mamdani, and they're claiming that this is going to equal a majority of support for him, over 51% of votes cast in his favor. However, based on some of the data that we've seen, there's been a lot of senior citizens.
I feel so bad for this guy. I'm pretty sure that this Sean over here, I'm pretty sure he's in New York. This poor guy, this poor bastard.
Citizens that are showing up to vote, and older people are definitely more in the camp of Andrew Cuomo. In fact, when I went out to vote in the early voting process,
yeah, you voted.
In and around my neighborhood, which, by the way, I ended up visiting 2 polling stations because I took somebody else to vote against Zohran Mamdani as well. I did my part, guys. You guys got to go out and do yours.
Dude, I called every single one of my American Jewish relatives in New York, every single one of my New York Jewish relatives, and I was like, every single one of you, pick up your ass. Pick up your ass and vote. I don't do it. You don't even need ID. You don't even need ID. I tried so hard, man.
Up seeing,
and the truth is they all knew. They were already voting anyway. Every single one of them. They're all terrified. They're all scared. Every single one of my New York Jewish relatives are all terrified. Every single one of them. Yep.
That there was a whole host of elderly people at these different various locations, but in reality, that is just 2 polling sites on 1 day of early voting. So even though it seems like it would be demographically more of a Cuomo or Sliwa support, which by the way, Sliwa support would actually end up helping Mamdani, so maybe that's not a good thing either. It doesn't necessarily mean that trumps the overall data. But
the fact that I'm still baffled that you don't need ID to vote. I know this is like a controversial opinion these days. I am absolutely flabbergasted, floored that you can vote without ID. It so doesn't make sense to me. It so doesn't make sense. I literally don't understand it.
Interestingly enough, Mamdani's campaign seems to be a little bit desperate. They seem to be in a panic. They don't seem to believe that this is 100% locked in because they're still going extremely hard. And a lot of people are mistaking the fact that he's releasing.
I mean, the answer is because you can't steal elections if you have ID. Like, if you don't require ID, then it's much harder to... Like, if you require ID, it's harder to steal the election, which is the goal.
Ads in foreign languages as a sign of weakness, but again, this does play to his advantage. People have pointed out that he recently dropped an Arabic ad, and while that might not be something that is standard and normal in an election that you would vote in your part of the country, New York City has actually increased its Islamic population ridiculously so, to the point where we have, I believe, in and around 1 million Muslim New Yorkers.
I don't want to say anything, because I don't want to offend Zohran Mamdani's aunt if she's watching. If Zohran Mamdani's aunt is watching, definitely subscribe, Zohran Mamdani's aunt. I put you at the forefront of my thoughts.
In this particular city. Now, what percentage of them vote, that's a whole separate issue, but obviously Mamdani is trying to corner all of these different demographics, and the fact that he speaks multiple languages, or at least competently speaks them enough that he could talk in the political ads in those multiple languages, is in fact an advantage for him. But again,
I wonder who those 1 million Muslim immigrants are going to vote for. I mean, I'm just asking. I'm just curious myself. I wonder who it's probably going to be split right down the middle. Probably split right down the middle on voters. Probably, I'm sure, right? Right, guys?
And the Cuomo ad team is finally stepping up. They're finally doing something. And it seems like that the race is tightening because guess what? When you actually attack your opponent on policy related to New York City, rather than...
Hey, attacking Zohran Mamdani on policy is very offensive to his aunt. Can we take a moment of silence for Zohran Mamdani's aunt? The easiest, the biggest victim of the 48,000 Islamic terrorist attacks since 9/11, Zohran Mamdani's aunt. We have to keep her in our thoughts because I personally think Islamophobia against Zohran Mamdani's aunt is worse than the stabbing and murder of the 2 Jews in Manchester, or the stabbing of the 11 people on the London train 2 days ago by a man that screamed Allahu Akbar. He was probably a white, straight British man. I think personally that even addressing that mass stabbing event is offensive to Zohran Mamdani's aunt. Out of the 11 people stabbed, Zohran Mamdani's aunt is the biggest victim.
Whether or not they support the nation of Israel, things tend to progress. Things tend to get...
The fact that, like... Okay, listen, man. I know Israel's the Holy Land, okay? I know it's the Holy Land. It does not need to come up as much as it does. Okay, it does not need to come up as much as it does. Nice place to visit. Nice place to visit, I have to say. But it does not need to come up in the New York City mayor election.
Better.
America deserved 9/11.
Is that Hasan Piker, the dog shocker? Hasan Diddy Dahmer Piker, the shocker?
That's Zoran's buddy, Hasan Piker, saying we deserve...
Bro, these are the ads against him. You've got to be kidding me. The ads against Zohran Mamdani are just talking about Hasan Piker. That's insane.
9/11. It's a disgrace to every life lost.
True.
Zohran went on Piker's show, and now Piker was just spotted at Zohran's event. Mamdani is wrong for New York. Paid for by 4R City.
Now, look, to be fair, every time I watch Hasan Piker stream, I hate Zohran Mamdani's aunt a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Every time Hasan Piker goes live and is like, I don't know, Jews shouldn't be treated like, shouldn't even be accepted as public dog walkers, you know? Every time I see Hasan say stuff like that, I immediately hate Zohran Mamdani's aunt a little bit more.
I know a lot of people are saying to themselves, who cares if New York City goes communist? It's not a big deal. Sean, you should move out of that city.
I'm just saying, ever since I made Hasan Piker is 100% cooked, he's been cooked.
Anyway, but this will be a great example for the left wing to show them that socialism absolutely doesn't work. But the thing is, we've had examples of socialist failures for over 100 years worldwide that we could look to indicate that this doesn't work. They never stick. And part of the reason why socialism still hangs around is because there is always built-in excuses for why these particular socialist experiments always fail. And by the way,
I mean, to be fair, socialism can't work. It's an inherently broken, flawed system. It's also immoral. It's immoral and broken, and it's really unfair that we're not recognizing this fact. All right, A, it'll never work, and B, it's immoral, because A, it just steals your money. All right, it will steal your money. It steals money from the people that actually earn it to basically incentivize people not to work. So it's A, immoral, and B, useless, and people aren't willing to recognize that. Someone in my chat just said Zohran Mamdani's aunt did. Someone in my chat just asked if Zohran Mamdani's aunt died on 9/11, and that's why you feel bad for her. Yes, she did die on 9/11. She was the pilot.
Mamdani's campaign.
It was a joke. That was a joke. Kidding.
Is loaded up with those built-in excuses. First and foremost, the rent freeze. He's promising that he's going to direct the Rent Stabilization Board to freeze the rent in rent-stabilized apartments. Now, we all know and understand that, of course, that ends up bidding up the prices of market apartments, so it's going to make things more expensive. It also ends up leading to a bunch of people who have rent-stabilized apartments trying to pull them off the market so they don't lose money, so supply is going to be depressed. And considering Mamdani is, in fact, a left-wing NIMBY who recently didn't take a position on developing Long Island City to build new apartments and instead advocated for a bigger park there where you can't build anything, this is going to be a disaster when he comes into play. But
he's like, we're making new apartments anyway, let's make the parks bigger.
In reality, he is just going to do what is always done by the left wing, which of course is blame the developers.
He's going to be a grifter. He's not going to do any of the things he promised. All the promises were empty. Every single one of those, it's all empty promises. You have to understand how the left operates. They will promise you everything and deliver nothing because all they want is the vote. And then when their voters end up mad that nothing changed, the voters are going to scream at them and they're going to say, we tried. It's Trump's fault.
Blame the corporate landlords, blame greed, and all that other nonsense. And of course, if the Rent Stabilization Board doesn't actually grant him his rent freeze, he's going to blame the board rather than him, saying it was completely out of his hands. In addition to that, he's promising to fund a bunch of government programs with tax increases that the mayor of New York City and the city council do not have the power to implement. You can't...
Oh, dude, he's such a fraud. We are going to institute this. That he literally doesn't have the power to do.
Actually raise the top marginal tax rate.
Like, this is how you get the lowest common denominator to vote for you. It's just promise them free shit that you can never deliver, but they don't know that, so they'll vote for you.
In the city of New York, without state approval, you can't actually raise the state corporate tax as the mayor of the city of New York, and those are the two funding mechanisms that Mamdani is pushing in order to finance his agenda. So when he doesn't get them, guess what? He is going to blame Governor Hochul and the New York State Legislature, which is always the game that the New York City mayor plays traditionally. In addition to that, I will also point out the only thing that will actually stick to Mamdani, the only thing that can actually bring him down if he is to win the mayorship,
shot caller,
is if crime goes up in the city of New York, if quality of life ends up getting worse, because no matter what these politicians try to do, people intuitively understand that crime is under the purview of the NYPD, which is an agency controlled by the city of New York. So in order for Mamdani to be viewed as a failure, he's not going to be viewed based on any of his socialist policies in that way, because he has built-in excuses to avoid that. He only is going to be viewed as a failure if crime runs rampant due to his defund the police agenda. And guess what? He's barely being attacked on that, even though right now he's still running on it. We talked about this multiple times, but the guy wants to freeze overtime, stop hiring to bolster the ranks of the NYPD back to normal recruiting levels, and then start a new agency like the Department of Community Services or whatever, Department of Public Safety, which is a bunch of social workers that they're going to deploy instead of police officers. This is just defund the police without saying the slogan defund the police, and this is the only thing that will be used to undercut Mamdani.
You're worried about the cost of rent, groceries.
Dude, I love these ads, man.
Mamdani says he is too. But what is his political activism focused on? Defunding and disarming the police, closing jails, and decriminalizing drug dealers. And as for affordability, he promises government-run grocery stores, free buses, and scavenger hunts. Paid for by hiking your taxes. It would be funny if it wasn't so serious.
Oh my god. These ads are diabolical, every single one of them. Oh my god.
Paid for by Fix the City.
Now, to be clear, I'm a very cynical guy, so I'm telling you what I think is likely going to happen, but that is based on my negative perception of how people react to failures of left-wing candidates, which is backed up by over 100 years of socialist experiments turning out to be disasters, only for them to be pushed again, as we'll get it right the next time. But yeah, it seems like Mamdani likely will win the mayorship. That being said, if you are in the city of New York and you haven't voted yet, go out. It's on election day. day. Let's get it done. And while I actively despise Andrew Cuomo, electing an Islamist socialist is by far and away significantly worse. So in my opinion, if you're somebody like me who is prone to vote for Curtis Sliwa, even though I don't want to tell anybody to vote for Andrew Cuomo, this would be the best chance of getting rid of Zohran Mamdani.
Yeah, it does kind of seem that way. No, but this guy's crazy. Like, he's a lunatic. He's like an actual lunatic. Now, remember who he is. He wants babies this age to be able to be killed. He supports the murder of babies at this age. He supports the murder of babies at this age. All right? This is one of his faithful voters, Zohran Mamdani. Ladies and gentlemen, he posts. One of his faithful voters. Look, everyone probably picks their toes on trains or something. But, bro, wait. I voted for Zohran Mamdani. That will change everything. Everything will change that. This is an article written by Zohran Mamdani's dad, Mahmoud. We need to recognize the suicide bomber. He wrote this after 9/11. We need to recognize the suicide bomber first and foremost as a category of soldier. Suicide bombing needs to be understood as a feature of modern political violence rather than stigmatized as a mark of barbarism. How dare you be Islamophobic towards the suicide bombers? They are just a form of soldiers, and they should be treated with that level of respect. The strategy is working, though. This is Musab Ali from Pakistan. He is running for the mayor of Jersey City. This is happening everywhere! One of his campaign promises is to use tax dollars to help illegals fight deportation. That's illegal! Deport these guys! What are we doing? He also pledges not to cooperate with ICE. He calls himself the Black Zohran Mamdani. And Ilhan Omar endorsed him. What are we doing? What are we doing? Now, the Jews, some of the Jews, the most of the Jews do not like Zohran Mamdani. All right, so this is Randy Fine. He's a congressman of somewhere. I don't know where. Probably Florida or something. Yeah, Florida. He's a Florida congressman. So this is what he had to say.
I've called for Zohran Mamdani to be deported. The only
You may be fat, but I agree.
thing I want to see him running for is his gate at JFK on the deportation flight to Uganda.
Amen, fat Jew. Anyway, who knows? Who knows? So he's trying to push this in Congress. Will it work? Probably not. But will it be funny? Absolutely. And I love that. I love watching fat people talking about running. It always makes my day better. But no, this dude was spitting straight facts. I appreciate you for that one, Randy Fine, Congressman of Florida's 6th District. You're the GOAT for that specifically. Anyway, he's fat because he's so full of logic. Exactly. Anyway, no, this was yesterday. He literally said this yesterday. So don't say it didn't work. It didn't work yet. Am I coping? Yes, absolutely. Anyway, this video is going to go up on YouTube. You probably still will have about an hour or two at least to vote, which is easy. You just go and you fucking vote for Cuomo, even though that guy sucks. He's your only chance. Unless, of course, you want to be one of the early sacrifices to the caliphate of New Yorkistan. You don't need to bring your ID. Don't worry. They cheat. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.